5 key business visa application mistakes to avoid. Hi, my name is Rahim Dhanani. I'm an immigration attorney and owner of the Dhanani Law Firm. The first mistake that you want to avoid is not understanding the visa eligibility requirements. For example, if you're filing for an H-1B visa, that visa normally requires a specialty occupation that's being applied for. The employer is requiring the employee to have a job that normally requires a bachelor's degree, and then the employee has a bachelor's degree that's related to that job. Another example is the L-1A visa. If the application is being filed, it should be for an executive or a manager. And if you're not an executive or a manager, then you're not going to qualify for the L-1A visa. Those are some really basic requirements that I've just listed. Actually all of the business visa applications have pretty in-depth requirements. So you really want to make sure that you understand what those requirements are before you file those applications. Another mistake that people make is they provide inaccurate or incomplete information on their applications. An example of that would be somebody who uses one name on their first application with the Immigration Service, and then they're using a different name on a different application. I had this happen with a relative of a client that I have, and for that client, it was an innocent mistake. They just had always gone by the name that their friends had and family had always called them since growing up, but their government ID had a different name on it. And if they would have put two different names on two different applications, it would have been inconsistent and it might have caused questions. So you want to make sure that you're providing accurate information. Another mistake that people make is they don't provide sufficient documents for the application. So normally the business applications are fairly document intensive. The applications are 100, 200, 300, sometimes even more than that as far as what's submitted with those applications and the number of pages. And if you're not submitting a lot of evidence to support your application, there's a good chance that your application won't go through. Another mistake that people make is inadequate preparation. They're not preparing properly for their visa interview. What you should do is review your application thoroughly and know exactly what's in it. You don't want to get into a situation where you show up for your interview at the consulate and the visa officer asks you some questions about the employer or about your background, and the information that you're giving is inconsistent with what's on the application. It's probably an innocent oversight on your part, but if you're giving bad information to the visa officer, it could lead to delays or more problems for you. So make sure you're pretty familiar with what's in your application. And then finally, the fifth mistake that people often make is they either apply too early or they apply too late. So for example, if you're in the US on a business visa, a lot of the business visas have a requirement that you cannot file for an extension of your status before 180 days of your current status expiring. So if you filed 8 months in advance, your application would get rejected out of hand because you filed too early. Conversely, you could maybe have an H-1B status and you're on your 5th year of H-1B time and you only have a year left to get the I-140 immigrant petition approved, and you in that 5th year start the application process, which for the green card, which is initially you start the PERM application and then you file the I-140 immigrant petition. Well, the PERM applications are taking more than a year right now. So in order for that process to get completed in time for before your H-1B expires, you need more than a year. So in effect, you filed too late for that PERM application. And that's a problem because now you may not get your H-1B extended while you're waiting for the visa to become available for your permanent residence, or the employer may have to let you go, and or you may have to work overseas. So there's a lot of problems with filing too late. So that's another mistake to avoid. You really need to understand the timing on your applications. They're not always accurate from the Immigration Service, so a lot of times the attorney is making a best educated guess that they can based on what's currently published, and then just kind of checking with other sources that the attorneys have to check processing times. And if you get the timing off, then that's a problem. So that's another mistake to avoid. So generally, those are 5 things, 5 mistakes to avoid when you're filing for a business application. I hope that's helpful. If you like the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll keep making some more. Thanks, bye.